Hi, Jared here. I'm back with another video. Miracle with the Messenger, number 3. For those who celebrated Christmas, I hope it was a very, very good Christmas, filled with peace, love, joy, blessings, and family. And for those who didn't, I hope you had a good holiday season, regardless of what it is that you celebrate. And I want to wish everyone in advance a joyous, prosperous, and blessed New Year. May 2024 bring all kinds of goodness, blessings, peace, love, joy, and of course the ultimate redemption of Mashiach, of the Messiah. May it all happen in 2024. Okay? So for those, by the way, who have not yet seen Miracle with the Messenger number 1 and number 2, oh, it's worth it. It was incredible miracles that I experienced personally. And this one is no different. Now I'm going to grab something here to show you guys. My book. You can get it on my website, jaredevansmessenger.com, under the author section or buy book section. You could also go to Amazon, Amazon Canada, Amazon US, Amazon International. After 7 years, it still has a 5-star review. Now, why am I showing you my book? Very simple. Because Miracle with the Messenger number 3, we're going to focus on the birth of my son, Gabriel Michael. And there are many miracles involved in this birth. Okay, why did I show you my book? Well, very simply, because there's a chapter in my book dedicated just to the miracle of his birth. Where do I start? Well, we have to start at the very beginning. After my daughter was born, Eliana, which in Hebrew means God has answered. God has answered our prayers. Going back in my family, generations, about 100 years, there's only been one girl before my daughter. She was number 2. It's always been boys, 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 boys. My father, there were 2 brothers. My grandfather was 2 brothers on that side. So, on and on and on. So my wife and I were done. In fact, I had an appointment to get snipped. So I figured 4 kids was enough. We finally had our daughter after 3 boys. I got a message from above. No, don't go to your appointment. You should cancel. So what? What are you talking about? I already have no hair from the stress of life with 4 kids. Financially was already tough to deal with 4 kids, as one can imagine. Some of you have only 1 and you find it tough financially. So you can imagine with 4. I said, look, I trust the big boss, I trust God. So if you guys, and I'm speaking about the Melachim, the angels, if you guys are telling me that the boss is asking me to have another kid, and they said, absolutely. He wants your wife and you to have another child. There's a soul up there that needs to be sent specifically to you and your wife. And the boss is asking if you're willing to do it. He knows it's a sacrifice. He knows it will be a lot of work. He knows it will be tough in many ways. And he will not think of you any less if you choose not to. I said, look, before I speak to my wife about this, I need to be sure. Can you give me a sign that I'm not imagining this? Sure enough, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't dreaming, I wasn't even daydreaming. I was walking at the time in my basement, at the time when I lived in the West Island. And right in front of my face, a big orb appeared. A big ball of light appeared right in front of my face. And in that orb, there appeared an image of a fetus, of a baby. Disappeared. And then I got the message, is that enough of a sign? And I said, yep, that's enough of a sign. So, went to talk to the wife. The wife, whose faith is incredible in God, just as much as me, if not even more. Her faith is incredible. She said, the boss wants, I'm going to do. Now, none of her labors pregnancies were very easy, by the way. Okay, and you're going to find out that this one was the worst of all. But she was willing to do it. She knows that children are a blessing and a miracle. And it's God himself who sends down the soul, which is why I got the message, hey Jared, there's a soul that God wants to send down. It needs to come to you and your wife. So we decided. Now skip forward to, I've been very blessed that whenever my wife and I try to have children, it happens pretty fast. Okay? I think for most of the kids, it was on the first shot. And I think for one of them, it took 2 shots. So, without going into details, I spent a little bit of time with my wife. And literally, and this is a whole other conversation, which I won't have now, about those people who say it takes 3 months or 6 months for it to be an actual life form or for the soul to come down. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was blessed enough that literally 30 seconds after, 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 weeks, 30 seconds after, I saw my archangel, the angel that I deal with the most. It's not mine, but the one I deal with the most, Michael, you know him as Michael, bringing down a soul. And I literally saw him put it inside my wife. And I could see right away she felt it. She told me, she said, I feel something. I feel something. And she ended up telling me afterwards that she was convinced that she was pregnant. Okay? And after he brought down the soul and put it in my wife, okay? Obviously on God's behalf, God sends the soul. He allowed the Michael to be the messenger of that soul, and he allowed me to see it. The room filled up with an intense white light that can only be from God. That's how strong it was. It was blinding, okay? And it says in the Torah, and it's a very big concept in Kabbalah as well, when a child is conceived, God's manifestation is stronger, and boy was it strong. That room filled up with white light. It was incredible. Fast forward a little bit. At one point, we wanted to decide what we're going to name our son. Now, what's very interesting is at one point I got a message that the boss wants to talk to you. It was from the angels. They said the boss wants to send you a direct message. And I got a message in my head, and boy, it was like the ground was shaking when he spoke, metaphorically speaking. Didn't actually shake, but that's what it felt like. Because God is God. God is one and the Almighty, and nothing comes close to God. And he said, one of the first blessings, and you will have many blessings, your wife and you will have many, many, many blessings for choosing to have this child because I asked. One of the blessings that you will begin with will be the ability to speak to this child while it is in your wife's belly. And I was able to speak to him the entire time he was in my wife's belly. Now, at one point while we were trying to decide, actually no, I won't even go there yet. I don't want to skip this part. After I hear that message, I hear Abba, Abba, which is Father for Hebrew. Now, I was about an hour and a half away from my family when I got this message. So I'm saying Abba, and then I started crying because I realized it was coming from inside my wife's belly into my head. He says, yes, Abba, it's me, inside Mama. He said, it's me. Now we can fast forward a bit, and my wife and I are trying to decide what we're going to name him. And he tells me, Abba, I'm going to choose my name. I'm going to choose my name when the time is right. Now, as we get closer to the pregnancy, we're saying, okay, when is this coming? I know my wife would remember better than me. My memory is not as good as it once was. I don't know if it was a week before or 2 weeks before. It was something like that before it was time for her to give birth. I get a message from him inside the belly. He says, Abba, I'm going to name myself Gabriel Michael. And I said, that's a beautiful, beautiful name. I love that name. Why? Why did you choose that, son? Because those were my 2 best friends up above before God decided to send me down for the first time in human form. Now I'm completely flabbergasted at this point. That will be your name, son. Fast forward to the hospital. My wife says, it's coming. We need to go. So we go. Now, as I said, none of her pregnancies, none of her labors were easy. Okay. My wife also doesn't seem to freeze with an epidural. Doesn't work. So in this case, that wasn't even an option. With skipping all the details, it happened like really fast. From the minute she went into labor, like it was like, okay, it's getting ready to come out. The other ones weren't as quick. But boy, it was tough. And her water didn't break. Now it does happen. Okay, it's not as common, but it's common enough where someone's water doesn't break at the beginning. So generally the doctor goes in and he pokes it to either break it. Worst case scenario, there's a trickle, there's some water coming out. Now the doctor tried 3 different times to break her water. Couldn't do it. So he's telling her, I don't know what's going on here, I just can't. Like, I've never seen anything like this in like 30 years. I've never seen a situation like this where I can't even get a dent. Now, as he's telling me this and he's trying to break the water, I see again Archangel Michael. He's inside my wife and he's covering the water with a light, a very, very bright light. And I'm understanding, okay, why is he doing this? And he says, when your son is out, and he will be fine, don't worry, I'll explain to you what I did. Okay? So he puts this light around the water. Now the doctor's trying and he can't break it. And what can I do? What can I say? So this is very, very, very tough. So finally, with a very, very, very difficult labor, she pushes. My son comes out a little bit, but he gets dragged right back in. So now the doctor starts panicking. And I start to get a little nervous, and Archangel Michael comes again. He says, don't worry. Your son will be fine, I promise. But the doctor now understands that the cord must be wrapped around his neck. So, so I told the doctor, I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, Doc, everything will be fine. I promise, I've been told. Now he thinks I'm nuts. Okay, he's convinced that, okay, there's going to be a problem here. Gaby, his nickname, we call him, for Gabriel Michael, he comes out. Now you can see that the cord is wrapped around his neck. But he comes out slowly. Doctor takes him. The doctor removes the cord, which, by the way, was wrapped around his neck 3 times. Not once, but twice, but 3 times. Now the doctor's concerned. He goes, I hope he's alive. And even if he's alive, there could be severe brain damage. I said, Doc, he's fine. He'll be fine. Takes the cord off that was wrapped around his neck 3 times. There wasn't even a mark. There wasn't even a scratch. And my son starts crying and the whole works and he's fine. And he has been fine, thank God. So the doctor doesn't understand what just happened here. He's kind of scratching his head. My wife and I are ecstatic because now we have our fifth child, our 4th son, that we know his name is Gabriel Michael. However, until the bris, which is the circumcision at the 8th day, for us, that's when you name the child. So we didn't tell anyone the name until the 8th day, okay, when he had his brit milah, his circumcision. Now that being said, Archangel Michael comes back to me and he says, let me tell you what I did. He said, obviously, I saw that the cord was wrapped around his neck 3 times. So the boss sent me and said, look, fix it up, because if her water breaks and he comes out too fast, it's going to snap his neck and it's going to kill him. So I put a force field of light around the water, and that's why the doctor couldn't break it. He couldn't even put a dent in it. Knowing that, yes, it would be a lot tougher for your wife, but that he would come out slow and smooth. And it wouldn't snap his neck and he would be fine. So as you can see, there are many, many, many miracles involved in Miracle with the Messenger number 3. The story of my son Gabriel Michael, who is now 8 years old, soon to be 9. Okay? Thank God. What a miracle. From the message that I got not to go to my appointment to get snipped, so I couldn't have babies, couldn't produce babies anymore, to seeing the orb in front of me with the fetus inside, to being able to speak to my son while he was in my wife's belly, to my son choosing his own name, to my son explaining from where he came from and why he chose the name Gabriel Michael, to the birth, to Archangel Michael covering her water with the light, to my son having the cord wrapped around his neck 3 times and being born completely healthy. All those miracles in one. So thank God. Thank you, boss. Thank you, God Almighty. Blessed are you and blessed is your holy and glorious name. There you have it. Miracle with the Messenger number 3. I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video. Please comment. Please share it. Let others see that miracles exist, that God is great and that miracles can happen. If you haven't seen number 1 and 2, Miracle with the Messenger 1 or 2, they're on my YouTube. Please go and see it. And obviously, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the holiday season. And God bless you all. And may each of you witness your own miracle when the time comes. God bless.